My name is Hannah Olson. I'm 33 years old. I work as a nail technician and own my own salon. Today, I was out shopping for supplies needed for the nail salon. Suddenly, I was approached from behind. "Is that Hannah?" Hearing a voice I recognized, and wished I hadn't, I had a bad feeling as I turned around. There stood my ex-husband, Tom. "Oh, it is Hannah," Tom said with a sleazy grin, looking at me as if I were some sort of amusement. Next to Tom stood a woman I also hoped never to see again. "It really is Hannah. What are you doing here, all by yourself?" Tom emphasized by yourself, as if it were odd for me to be walking the streets alone at night. Perhaps he meant to suggest I was lonely. "It's been a while. Have you been well?" I responded with a non-committal greeting. "Yeah, I'm great. Everything's going smoothly for me." His use of "for me" suggested he assumed things were not going well for me. Tom had always been like that. Tom always used to think of me as less than him. That attitude seems to have not changed. I wanted nothing more than to leave this place and head home. However, Tom showed no signs of leaving. Eventually, he started rambling on about himself, even though I hadn't asked. "My son, he recently started attending a prep school for elementary. That's nice. I hope he passes." I formally wished success for Tom's son, whom I've never met. "He'll definitely get in. After all, he's Tom's and my child," the woman who had been standing next to Tom the whole time said with both hands in a victory pose. It caused me to give a wry smile. Her name is Lynn. If I remember correctly, she should be 29 now. After divorcing me, Tom remarried Lynn. Then, her gaze fell on my left ring finger, and she suddenly exaggerated her surprise. "Oh, Hannah, you're still single? That's so sad." While Lynn said it was sad, her mouth was slightly smiling. And when Tom noticed the absence of a ring on my left ring finger, he widened his eyes and said with a laugh, "Wow, really? Feels like you're the only one stuck in the past since then?" The two of them, looking very cozy, mocked me while wrapping their arms around each other. I feel kinda bad for Hannah. I didn't think she'd still be unmarried. Today's our wedding anniversary, and we were just out for dinner. Now we're on our way back. Kinda feel bad for interrupting. Tom raised one hand, clearly not feeling bad at all. "It's okay. Don't worry about it." I truly didn't care, so I let it slide off easily. "I just want to go home." Thinking this to myself, Tom must have thought I was upset because he patted my shoulder as if to comfort me. "Well, happiness will come your way too, Hannah. But man, I guess the rumors about your lonely, poor life were true." "What did you say?" I couldn't help but retort to such a ridiculous misunderstanding. "Where on earth did you hear such nonsense?" "Where was it again?" "Sorry, forgot." Tom continued to mock me. "You never had any talent to begin with, but that's why you ended up like this, huh? Believing baseless rumors and mocking me, Tom. I thought I didn't have to put up with being ridiculed any longer. You don't know anything? Must be nice." Crossing my arms, I mocked Tom in return. "Huh? What do you mean by that?" Tom seems not to understand, but my words actually carry two meanings. However, considering all that Tom has put me through, I guess staying silent for a bit longer won't do any harm. While thinking this, I remembered the past, the times when Tom and I were married. Tom and I met at a bar he owned. "This place is actually mine." Tom had fallen for me at first sight when I visited the bar as a customer, and he aggressively pursued me. "Wow, really?" Initially, I brushed him off, but Tom kept saying he liked me so many times that I started to become interested in him too. Then, I started dating Tom, and we got married when I was 26 and he was 31. I thought we were living a happy life. The restaurant Tom managed at the time was doing well, with sales going up. "Hey! I've decided we're going to expand and open more branches." "Really? That's amazing. Congratulations." Tom was considered successful as a businessman. As for me, I was a housewife with plenty of time on my hands, so I decided to seriously pursue my hobby of doing my own nails by attending a nail technician training course. I've finally finished all the classes. Now I can open the home salon I've always dreamed of. However, the area we lived in was highly competitive for nail salons. My salon, lacking distinctive features or outstanding skills, didn't do very well in sales. But since I'm operating from home, I don't have to pay for a location, and I'm barely making enough to cover the cost of materials, so technically, I'm not in the red. Despite this, Tom, who owned multiple stores, started to look down on me for struggling with just one. You can't even manage one small shop properly? You're really not cut out for this. You're just not smart when it comes to business, it takes talent. Tom talked about the difference between his success and my situation. Thinking back, this was when Tom started coming home late and going on business trips more frequently, which probably marked the beginning of his affairs. I hate it, he looks so annoyed every time we see each other. Tom would lift his chin and look down on me as if seizing the opportunity. After 2 years of living like this, one day, Tom suddenly brought home Lynn, who was 24 at the time. She worked part-time at his restaurant. "Welcome. What's up?" Then, exchanging glances with her, Tom said to me with a pitying look, "I'm going to remarry Lynn. Can you leave this house?" I was stunned and couldn't think straight. "Wait, what do you mean? You can't just spring this on me all of a sudden. What's the reason?" "I'm pregnant. So, Hannah, will you divorce Tom for me?" "No way." It turned out that Tom had an affair with a part-time girl and, to top it off, got her pregnant. I objected, but my objections fell on deaf ears. "This is the situation, so you don't have a choice. Don't worry about money. I'll give you way more than the going rate." Tom, whose business was flourishing and had money to spare, forced the divorce by offering a generous settlement. I was kicked out of the apartment and got divorced. But, looking back, I'm glad he cheated. What's this all of a sudden? Sore loser? Tom sneered. Lynn also covered her mouth with her hand, giggling. The bravado of a single, old lady is just so painful to watch. It's not sour grapes. I now run my own nail salon. Again? Haven't you learned your lesson after I told you so many times that you have no sense for business? Tom laughed as if watching a comedy show. I told Tom about what happened after our divorce. After that, I went back to my parents' house and took my time thinking about what to do with the settlement Tom gave me. I thought about splurging it to ease my frustration, but then I realized that would be a waste. I decided to use it to ensure my happiness moving forward. Ignoring their looks as if to say, "So what?" I continued. Then, I saw a TV program featuring working women while the TV was left on. That's it. I thought instantly. I had an epiphany I'd never felt before and came up with the idea of opening a nail salon specialized for all working women. Not just those employed as regular staff or part-timers, but including housewives as well. I immediately went out to do market research and gradually formed the concept for my shop. From there, I was all in. The determination to make it a success and a tiny bit of desire to prove you two wrong fueled me back then. I worked non-stop, forgetting even to take breaks. And guess what? It was a huge hit. Unlike my previous shop, thankfully, it's fully booked with reservations. No way. You don't have what it takes. Don't exaggerate. It's not a lie. Look, here. I showed Tom the reservation page of my salon on my smartphone, thrusting it at him like a police badge. Seriously? Why? This doesn't make sense. Tom muttered, looking at the screen filled with unavailable slots. I started in just one room of a small building, but it became popular in no time, and I had to move to a bigger location. It's not just me anymore. I have several staff members. Yes, I've become a respectable owner of a nail salon. It's amazing how a moment of inspiration can change the world so much. Don't joke with me. It's only for now. It'll stop working out soon enough. Tom looked at me resentfully, clenching his fist beside his thigh. I actually know that Tom's shop sales have been falling. That's probably why Tom is so frustrated. The ex-wife he looked down on is doing well, while his once thriving shop is in jeopardy. I knew about this because I happened to pass by where Tom's shop used to be and noticed it was gone. Tom's shop has closed down. And not just one of them? Most of the branches he had opened back then had closed down. Now, only the original shop, just one, remains. It's definitely a sign of poor management. That was my immediate thought. The customer traffic in the remaining shop doesn't seem too good lately. How's that going for you? Why do you know that? Struck a nerve, Tom started to panic. Lynn also bit her lip and looked down a bit. It used to be so popular back then. I liked the shrimpadillo at Tom's place. Is it still there? Are you mocking me? I teased him a bit, and Tom glared at me sharply. After all the mocking and divorcing he did, he gets mad when the same is done to him. I thought it was childish of him. But he quickly tried to regain his composure. It's just a slow season. You wouldn't understand, but there are ups and downs in the restaurant business. It'll pick up again soon. I hope so for your sake. But probably not. What? How can you say that so definitively? Amateurs should keep quiet. Well, because my shop is doing well. I thought so but didn't say anything unnecessary and continued the conversation. One of the girls working at my salon happened to go to Tom's place. She said it looked empty and easy to get into. I emphasized the empty. Tom's eyes flashed open for a moment. Empty, what's that supposed to mean? Are you mocking me again? Not at all. She said the back of the shop looked dirty, and that was off-putting enough, but then the food that came out tasted weird too. Then, Tom's breathing became noticeably ragged. He started rubbing his hands together, looking decidedly unsettled. It was clear he was trying to hide something. Yet, even so, Tom attempted to act bravely, his voice shaking as he said, "So what? Are you saying my restaurant's food is bad? Your staff must have no taste at all." It's unclear whether he thinks he can still deceive or he genuinely doesn't know, but Tom refused to admit it. So, I decided to enlighten him. Maybe you're using expired ingredients? In my words, Tom finally lost his temper. Enough! This is slander, right in the middle of a busy place. Though he was the one who started mocking me in this busy place. I couldn't help but feel sympathy for his employees, not giving a second thought to his own actions. Given his personality, it's likely his staff are completely worn out. There's been a help wanted sign in his shop for a long time. Not enough staff, and even if someone new starts, they probably don't last long. But I digress, I wouldn't say this without evidence. It was one of my salon's staff who told me. In the back of the shop, the employees were saying, "This is probably rotten, but it's the boss's order, right? It's not expired, so it's fine." Isn't that crazy? And then, that salon staff member ended up with stomach pain and had to take a few days off from work. It has to be because of that place, right? Oh, it was awful. She said this while sighing and rubbing her stomach. However, I deliberately didn't tell Tom these two facts. Unaware that I knew about his wrongdoing, Tom raised his voice even more. That's baseless. There's no proof. Well, it's no longer my concern, so whatever. I replied calmly, in stark contrast to Tom's desperation. This made Tom angry, and he suddenly changed the subject. Oh, right, you're still single. You must be jealous of us, married with kids, and can't stand it unless you say something like this. Lynn, who had been quiet until now, joined in, her words sharp. Oh, I see, that makes sense. Really, stop with the weird accusations. Desperation doesn't suit you. Excuse me? I couldn't for the life of me understand how the conversation had gotten to this point from where it had started. At their childish attacks that missed the point, I rolled my eyes in exasperation. I've said what I wanted to say, and I can't be bothered with this anymore. Time to head home, maybe. Just as I was watching the two of them, Tom's phone suddenly rang. He pulled his smartphone from his pocket and answered the call. Hello, what's up at this hour? What? Wait, you're kidding me. What are we gonna do? It seemed like some trouble had arisen. The color drained from Tom's face as he became increasingly agitated. Lynn, worried, asked him, Hey, what's wrong? Did something happen? I'll call back later. After hanging up, Tom glared at me with a face as fierce as a demon. How much do you know? About what? Don't play dumb. Just tell me how much you know. Tom, what's going on? Hey, what happened? Shut up. Just keep quiet. Lynn was roughly pushed aside by Tom's arm and stumbled, losing her balance. That's awful. I was just worried and asking. Why are you getting mad? Do these two forget that we're on a busy street? They started bickering without any regard for the people around. Shut up. A woman who doesn't understand anything should just keep quiet. All you do is laze around at home. What? You're the one who said I didn't have to do anything. I don't know what happened, but can you stop belittling me all of a sudden? It was too much to watch. People passing by glanced over, wondering what was happening as they walked past. Not wanting to be associated with these two, I instinctively stepped back about 3 feet. Do whatever you like. With that, I tried to leave. But Tom, not missing my attempt to escape, grabbed my arm and pulled hard. Ouch! I haven't gotten an answer yet. How much do you know? How much, as in what kind of call you got that's got you so worked up? You have to tell me that before I can know anything. What? A customer who ate at my restaurant got food poisoning. Tom's voice dropped to a whisper, mindful of the people around. Yeah, that's why I said it. Maybe you're using expired stuff? It's likely true that he isn't using expired products. However, the way my salon staff heard Tom's employees talking gave the impression they might be using ingredients that, while not expired, could be risky. If food poisoning has occurred, the restaurant will likely have to temporarily shut down for an investigation. Looks like your kids' elementary school exams are the least of your worries now. I said it half in sympathy, half in mockery, and Tom's face turned even redder. I continued, ignoring Tom's reaction. I told you at the beginning, didn't I? You don't know anything? Lucky you. What's that supposed to mean? Tom looked as if he didn't understand why I'd bring that up. Actually, that comment had 2 meanings. The first was about you boasting without knowing I'm succeeding in my business. The second was about the potential downfall of your restaurant, which I knew about but you didn't. With the company already scaling down due to poor performance, using questionable ingredients, and someone close to me, my staff, falling ill from eating at his restaurant, it wasn't hard to foresee this outcome. That's why I said, you don't know anything? Lucky you, with those 2 meanings in mind. Of course, Tom couldn't grasp that, having started to mock me. While you were calling me a lonely, talentless pauper, I nearly laughed. So blissfully unaware. You were just a talentless housewife who couldn't do anything. Yes, I was just a housewife who knew nothing. But the divorce made me want to prove you wrong, and it allowed me to think objectively about how to do that. And look at me now, successful. I should thank you. Thanks for divorcing me. I dumped you because you were useless and annoying to watch, and now you're more successful than me? Dumped trash is supposed to lead a trashy life, that's the rule. Pathetic, just admit it. You're upset that the woman you discarded is more successful than you. Tom got even louder, shaking his head. No. I won't admit it. Never. Whether you admit it or not doesn't matter to me. And by the way, when did I say I wasn't remarried? What? But you're not wearing a ring. Don't pretend, it's just too sad. Despite his restaurant being in crisis, he still had the energy for such comments. In a way, I found myself respecting Tom. That's right, I've said it, haven't I? The bravado of a single old lady is just painful to watch. Don't worry, being unmarried isn't something to be ashamed of. Lynn said it as if to console me. Lynn, too, seems to think a woman's happiness lies in marriage, which I found rather pitiful. I don't wear a ring because of work. It could get dirty, and I might scratch a client's finger. I usually leave it at home. That's surely a lie. Show me this imaginary husband of yours then. Tom snorted derisively and extended his hand towards me, asking to see a photo. I took out my smartphone and showed him a picture of my current husband. Then, Tom burst out laughing like something out of a comic book, looking at me as if I was some dangerous lunatic. Come on, no way. This has to be edited or something. Too crazy. Let me see. Wait, no way, this has got to be fake. Wow, that's just... I'm appalled. The two of them looked at me as if I was a pitiful woman possessed by delusions. No wonder. The man in the photo I claimed as my husband is a late-blooming actor famous for his roles in commercials, dramas, and movies recently. You think I'm some crazy delusional woman? Yep, we do. They said in unison. You've really gone off the deep end thinking you're still single, huh? This is totally my fault. It's not Tom's fault, no. It's because back then, Hannah couldn't do anything at all. What am I even being shown here? You might want to think of me as some pitiful old lady, but sorry to disappoint. This photo isn't edited. You're still going on about that? Give it up, but I'll listen to your story. So, how did you two meet? I explained to them. I mentioned earlier how well my nail salon is doing, right? Running a business, as Tom probably knows, gets you invited to various gatherings. Thinking it might expand my business opportunities, I tried to attend whenever invited. Tom and Lynn quietly listened to my story. I met him at one of those gatherings. It was a fancy event, even celebrities attended. And? Don't tell me, one of those celebrities actually approached you? Exactly that. He started talking to me first. I don't know why, but when I told him about divorcing my cheating ex-husband and opening a nail salon with a settlement, he listened with great interest. Said it was like something out of a drama. We hit it off and started talking all night. We began dating about a month after that. They stood there with their mouths agape, stunned. Do you believe me now? Well, maybe. Tom gritted his teeth, clearly frustrated. Hannah, darling. I heard Lynn's sugary voice from the side. I could somewhat predict what would follow. If you have a celebrity husband, you should have told us sooner. Maybe, if I ask nicely, could you introduce me to other actors? After they had ridiculed me as a single woman and all. I was impressed by their quick change of heart. Hey, Lynn. That's not fair. Hey, any chance you could let me in on that gathering, for old time's sake? I'm looking to expand my network for my business's future, please. Their attitude had changed completely from before, now pleading with clasped hands. Feeling nauseous at the thought I was married to this man for 2 years and even more so for losing him to someone like Lynn, I was momentarily tormented by my past inadequacy. But such thoughts quickly vanished, and I made myself clear. No way. What? At my refusal, Tom let out a voice of displeasure but quickly became desperate. Come on, please. I was acting tough earlier, but like you said, my shop's in trouble. I need financial help now. A celebrity could help promote the shop on social media, right? It's because you're such a shallow person that I refuse. Inviting someone like you would only tarnish my reputation. Tom's face, and even his ears, turned red. Whether he was embarrassed or angry, I couldn't tell. Don't get too comfortable. You'll be dumped again in a few years just like I did to you. Enjoy your life while it lasts. Thanks for the advice. But I'm not the same person I was back then. I'm not just a woman with nothing anymore. Whether married or not, I've become a woman who can stand on her own. My current husband loves that about me. I was happy to hear his words. It felt like my efforts were recognized. It was good to see you two today. It reminded me how fortunate and happy I am now. Everything I've done since the divorce was right. Oh, is that so? Well, good for you. Hope your happiness lasts. Tom spat out his words like a sore loser. Hey, wait! Don't leave me behind! Tom shouted as he ran off. Lynn, as if she had never existed to him, hurried after Tom in her high heels. Their figures quickly disappeared into the night. Watching their pathetic retreat, I felt a sense of relief. I'm so glad I kept pushing on. Feeling like I finally got my revenge on Tom after 5 years, my heart felt lighter. Maybe I had been harboring resentment towards them because of how abruptly I was kicked out of the house 5 years ago, without being allowed to voice any of my opinions. Deciding that this chance encounter today was a blessing in disguise, allowing me to clear my pent-up frustration and move forward, I made up my mind. Well, time to head home. I hurried back home. A few days after reuniting with Tom and Lynn, it turned out there indeed was a cause for food poisoning at Tom's restaurant, leading to a 3-day suspension of business. This incident even made it to the news, allowing me to learn more about his shop. Apparently, Tom had instructed his employees to raise the temperature of the refrigerators and other food storage units to save on electricity bills, causing the meat and fish inside to spoil faster than usual. Moreover, the problems didn't stop there. He had also been involved in mislabeling the origin of his ingredients. His attempts at cost-cutting to maintain his business had backfired. Guess it's better to use good quality products even if they cost a bit more in the long run. I muttered to myself as I arranged the high-quality work tools I had purchased from the supplier in my salon. I wanted to thank Tom for teaching me that lesson. Though Tom's shop reopened temporarily, the impact of the food poisoning and mislabeling scandals was significant, and customers never returned. The shop ended up in a state of perpetual closure. I saw with my own eyes the last of Tom's shops shutting down. A paper with notice of closure was pasted on the shutter. For a moment, I wondered what would become of Tom after losing his job, but soon my own affairs filled my mind. I had been invited to speak at an overseas business event, a fantastic opportunity. My current husband encouraged me, saying it was a great chance and to go for it. Thank you for giving me the chance to live such a wonderful life. With that last thought, I became excited about my work expanding internationally, forgetting about the two of them completely, and immersed myself in my work. Looking forward to whatever comes next, I continue to give my all at work today.